Worrying about my mom is like, it does kind of worry me a lot, and it does kind of mess up with my school, because like sometimes like when she's sick, I'll just stay home, and I notice that like my absence are going up. But recently they went down, but most of the time it does kind of interfere with my school, because like when she's sick or when she's hungry, I have to miss school. The earliest moment I had of being homeless was like about 6 months ago, and I was just really missing my mom, mainly because like what my dad did to me. So I was like, I felt apart from my dad, so I felt apart from my mom. So I really wanted to be with my mom. So I was like, I decided to go with my mom because she was also homeless. So I was like, I thought I would like just stay with her. So like when I went, like I felt like the real part of being homeless, because like we were in a garage, like we didn't have that much food. I mean, we went through some hard times, and like I see like how other people are dealing with it.
Eddie's a real special child. For the most part, he came from another school district, and I have worked with students that are special needs like Eddie. And what happened is that he came to us with no credits. Therefore, he was on that path to not graduate, because the research shows that if our kids are not matriculating on time in 9th grade, they're not going to graduate. There's 85% chance they will not graduate. So he was identified by our attendance improvement counselor.
Eddie is not typical, and that's why he stands out. Eddie, from the minute I met him, he was very eloquent in terms of what he was going through. And I think once he got comfortable with me, once we connected, he was able to open up and tell me, you know, some of the hardships that he has gone through in his very short life. You know, he did discuss issues of, you know, it being homeless, you know, as a kid, and, you know, having to move around very frequently, you know, having to ask family members for money a lot of the time.
My experience being in the garage was like, when we got up, I didn't eat right away. Like we didn't have breakfast. Like we would just wait until like mainly lunch, I would say lunch, dinner, so that can fill us up for like the rest of the day. Like if we didn't have nothing, we would like right away eat a cup of noodles. Like we would eat something that would kill our hunger. And like if I didn't have it because I felt bad for my mom, I would give it to her, and I would like go get junk food or something. Well, really, like everything that I've been through, like that does help me overcome a lot. I mean, like I focus mainly on my mom and school. Like when I see my mom's down, like I try to do what I can do to like help her out. I mean, my mom still lives in a motel as we speak now, and I mean, like I try my best. When I go home, I feed her. Like whatever we eat for dinner, I take it to her motel.
With Eddie, the problem is he is currently not homeless per se. He is with his maternal grandmother. Yet that does not remove the anxiety that he fears, that he feels over, you know, not being able to be with his mom. I'm sure, you know, that his mom lives in a motel, and she's still battling those issues of homelessness.
I mean, when I come to school, I mean, I really try not to think about it. I really don't let it try to get at me, because I know it'll affect my school when I get older, so I'm really more worried about school. There's times where I just like can't stop thinking about my mom and like what she's eating or what she's doing, because I know she's going through a lot as I speak right now. So it really does, because like when I'm in class trying to do work, that's like the main thing that comes to my mind is my mom.
You know, he has very strong bonds with his mom. He loves his mom. He wants to protect his mom. So just being away from her, you know, that's been really hard for him. Yet, you know, he's amazing. I kind of like see him as my little hero, because he, you know, he's been through so much. He's been through, you know, in working with him, I also found out that he has experienced some like child abuse issues, you know, he has witnessed the hardships of dealing with parents that, you know, have substance abuse issues. So him being able to verbalize that, I mean, I think it took a lot of courage, and he was still here. He did say sometimes it became really hard to come to school. Last year, his attendance was not that great, and that's why, you know, that was another reason why, you know, why I was seeing him. But, you know, you're right. You know, he's not dealing with it like other students would. Most students would have given up by now.
Sometimes like when she's sick, I'll just stay home, and I notice that like my absence are going up. but recently they went down. But most of the time it does kind of interfere with my school because like when she's sick or when she's hungry, I have to miss school to go take it to her. I really don't have much anger towards that because my mom has done so much for me before she like started becoming homeless. So I really feel like I should take care of my mom because I know right now she's sick. I feel really good that I'm actually able to help my mom because I know she helped me when I was smaller and when I was in some issues.
You know, just working with him, just helping him work through his anxiety of like being away from his mom, not always feeling like he has to take care of his mom. I think that's been one of my focus, just kind of like reframing his thinking, you know, in terms of, you know what, yes, you want to help your mom, and you will be able to help her maybe in the near future if you're a high school graduate.
Even though I have these obstacles that I do need to show up to school because it is something that I'm going to need it later down in life. I need high school. I'm looking forward to having college and they're kind of helping me with that. I mean, they tell me that school is important for me and I do kind of like school.
At this point, I've already seen success in terms of attendance. I can't take the credit for his motivation because he's always had that motivation. He does value education. It's just a matter of, you know, having the proper supports for Eddie. If Eddie has the proper supports, I believe he will graduate and he will, you know, go to college like he wants to.
But more than that, Eddie's just a great child. Eddie has done a lot of wonderful things. He's now pushing really hard to help awareness for homeless students, not just here in Bell, but all over Los Angeles. And he's actually coordinating a fundraiser.
Well, I got the idea of helping out because I feel like I am going through hard times, but it's not just time to worry about myself because there is other people and I don't want to be like, you know, poor me, because I've been through obstacles, but I mean, I eventually got over them and I want to help other people actually overcome the obstacles so they don't have to worry about it.
He's just very resilient. He's been able to bounce back. You know, so yeah, he's a special case.
Something like that, like being homeless, when I come to school, it kind of makes me feel better about myself because I know I've been through it and I mean, I feel like I'm a better person because I overcame it. I mean, I've been through a lot, but I think I've become a better person because of what I've been through.
The Attendance Improvement Program, that's what we call it, the AIP program, is a program that focuses either on kinder students or ninth graders. At Bell High School, obviously we're working with ninth grade students because studies have shown that ninth graders are more typically at risk for dropping out.
I believe that in 8th grade, a lot of the students are there because there's culmination hanging on their head. So they want to participate in culmination. So that keeps a lot of the students there and it keeps them out of trouble for the students who are attending because they do want to participate in all those activities. For 9th grade, they just finished their 8th grade year. A lot of the students went their separate ways. They don't have their same friends. They may not have the same foundation. They're starting school all over again. So if they, you know, they don't feel a sense of connection, that's a lot of the times when they decide, I'm not learning, I'm not getting this, why even keep on going? If students are not coming to school, they're not here to learn or get the grades or get the other credits, and they will not be moving on from 9th grade to 10th grade. And that's something that they kind of learned, well, if I'm not in school, I'm still going to go on to the next grade from elementary school through middle school. And in 9th grade, it's a big reality check for a lot of these students. So we do try to be more preventative, and trying to intervene in 9th grade to try to get the students back on track.
So we try to identify any at-risk students that might be at risk of not graduating based on their attendance. So what we often do is we identify whether they're at risk by the number of absences, because we always say absence is not a problem, it's a symptom of something bigger happening. So you know, we work out on that basis, just making sure that we catch them early and try to keep them at a certain target rate, which is 7 absences or less this school year.
Because we are the attendance improvement program, we focus on a large group of students. We don't focus on individual specific students. Sometimes that does happen and because you are referred to a certain student, but for the most part we do refer We do try to reach out by having large assemblies, orientations, ninth grade orientation at the beginning of the school year, trying to get all of the parents informed and involved about the attendance of their child and how important it is. We do also send absence letters when we notice that a student has missed several absences at the beginning of the year. And then we do have, at least for the school that I'm working at, I do have different dates that I do send excessive absent letters to inform the parents and try to bring them back and engage the parent as well as the student.
I see probably a twofold impact that it has. One, we're not always aware as educators the importance of just reminding kids how important it is to go to school. And sometimes because we're focused on the instructional program, we're not necessarily looking at just some of the encouragement that kids need to hear around just getting here and the importance of good attendance. So the program has been very instrumental in giving that message to kids, and I think it's really helped improve kids' attitudes toward being here every day.
Is there any?
Well, it's a huge program because the foundation of what makes a school successful is positive, significant relationships that develop between the adults and students as a way of encouraging students to think and look beyond themselves and recognize that being in school regularly is a very, very important and fulfilling and hopefully enjoyable experience. We have an advisory program, for example, that we are continuing to try and develop because we're hopefully able to institutionalize that whole approach that in addition to kids needing to learn their academics, they're going to learn about themselves and connect with adults in a positive way outside of the academic realm. So I think the AIP program has really added another dimension to what we're trying to do well, which is make the students feel welcome by creating positive relationships with adults outside of the academic environment or outside of the academic realm. Mm-hmm. Well, when it's done right, you are able to connect kids to positive activities that instill in them a sense of belonging and instill in them a sense of community. Encourage them to think outside of themselves, as I said before, recognizing that you have a lot of interests that don't fall into the academic world. And so to be able to provide students with those connections are a real difference maker in terms of how kids perceive and how they experience school. And so our challenge is to make those connections sooner than later when they get here. Hopefully we've done a good job with as many kids as possible prior to them coming here with orientation activities so that they already see there is this activity that I like. There is that sports team that I want to belong to. So that's our goal. I think fundamentally, in addition to every student earning a diploma, every student having a greater sense of self and a positive sense of self, which can sometimes be just an academic achievement, but sometimes it has to extend beyond to the positive relationships to help them think differently, to help them see themselves differently, and to recognize that they have potential to do many, many things with their lives. And so again, the positive connections that they can make with adults who can help reinforce that message is the key.
I didn't drop out, I just left. Like I wasn't usually wake up in the mornings and all that, because I stopped like going to school for like 3 years. I didn't really care about school. I mostly like left middle school because I used to get into fights, you know. I used to get into trouble. Because my brothers, they're like involved with gangs, you know. Because when you're little, you look up to your brothers. I used to get in a lot of fights because of the attention I wanted. Mostly, I told my mom I was going to school, but like mostly I didn't go to school. I went to my homegirl's house and kicked it there until like school ended, and then just kicked it with my homies because I used to get in a lot of fights like each week. Like they used to call her to come pick me up because like I was getting suspended or something like that. Then my mom couldn't like take it no more, so that's when she sent me over there. My dad, he lives in Mexico, so then over there he has a body shop and he makes like those lowriders, the hydraulics. So then mostly I spent my time in like helping him out. I was getting kind of boring over there. Then school is better over here. So like I was thinking of school when like going back to school because like I was bored like most of the time. So then I missed the things from here. I tried to tell my dad I want to go back. Then I was talking to my mom when I want to come back that I was gonna do better. And then coming back to school, like it was hard for me because like I didn't know nothing and like I was held back and the teacher can't like really help you out because like she has to help other people too. So then like my friends who I used to kick in my clay with, then they started coming over here and they told me that it was a little school so like they could help you out better because it's smaller. So then I started liking the school, so then I told my mom I want to come to the school, you know.
Ninth grade is such an important focus because historically, you know, the dropout rates begin in ninth grade. If students are not coming to school, they're not here to learn or get the grades or get the other credits, and they will not be moving on from ninth grade to 10th grade. And that's something that they've kind of learned. Well, if I'm not in school, I'm still going to go on to the next grade from elementary school through middle school. And in ninth grade, it's a big reality check for a lot of these students. So we do try to be more preventative, and trying to intervene in ninth grade to try to get the students back on track.
Ms. Morales, my counselor, helped me out. Like, she told me, oh, like, if I get here fast, like, I'll get rewarded, or like, he'll help out my grades. Cause like, if I'm not in school, like, I don't get the education, and if I don't get the education, like, I don't get enough credits to pass.
Jose was a student actually referred to me by the guidance counselor saying, you know, he is having attendance issues. He's coming to school late and he's missing a couple of classes. Can you follow up with him, see if you can go ahead and put him on your radar? So I did meet with Jose along with several other students, and Jose was one of the students who he was here, but not really here. He would go to the PE field, miss a couple of classes, and so after I talked to him, he said, okay, I'm going to try to come every day, and you know, I did put him on a contract per se, but it's a chart.
And she used to like do this chart. You need to put a star in so she can know that you're here. It sounds kind of childish, but like it really helped. And if you were here like for 3 or 4 weeks in a row, she like rewarded for in and out or a pizza party. Something like that.
He was coming, but he would forget, and I would see Jose, and I said, Jose, I didn't see you in the morning. What happened? And he would say, oh, I forgot. You know, I'll come by tomorrow, and then he would forget again. But I would see him coming to school. I didn't know if he was on time or if he wasn't going to first period, but I would see him more often. And I started noticing that, you know, his attendance had improved from, you know, going sporadically to coming to school. Not every day, because he still has some attendance that he doesn't come, but he does bring a note. So now he, you know, he does have an actual absence that is excused, not just not wanting to come.
Well, Ms. Morales, she's a counselor, but like most of the time she's like a counselor. Like she's like more than a counselor to us, cause like she puts effort into like counseling, so we could get here early and all that. Cause like knowing that somebody's gonna see that, knowing that somebody cares, so like you better like put your effort into it, because you don't want to disappoint that person. Since then, I started coming to school early, then trying to put my part, because she's putting her part to help me out, so then I was trying to put my part to help her out, you know? So now it's just like try to come to school early, like if my brothers or like my mom couldn't take me, so like I just walked there early or like took the bus earlier, you know, to be here early. Well, when I started coming to school on time, I see that my grades started going up because I was there and I was like there when they started teaching the lesson, you know. And before I wasn't here, so like I didn't know what's going on. So then my grades started going up. Like my tardies were like not tardies no more. Like I was here mostly every day on time, and I noticed that my grades were going up. And my credits, I was getting enough credits.
And he's even getting involved in leadership now because he's such a good student. Students want to for him to help out. He's really shy still, so he doesn't want to make the commitment of being in the leadership class, but he will help out. He will stay after school to do the sound for them. So he is becoming involved overall, not just coming to school every day, but overall, in his classes. He's passing all of his classes.
So far I'm good, so like I get the hang of it and like I like it, So like, and then if you like it, you come to school. Then, so I just better like not mess around, having the credits to pass, and not like be struggling and start hating school.
Okay, I think he's also doing really well because of the attention he's receiving. He's not only receiving attention from me, from the leadership teacher. She loves when he comes and offers to help. So he will stay after school doing favors for a class he's not even in. So I think he really enjoys that attention, not only from a counselor or a teacher, but of his peers as well.
Yeah, like I just want my life to be different, because like I don't want to like go after my brother's footsteps, and go through whatever they're going, and I don't want that for myself. So like, if I don't want that, I should probably like stay away from that, Yeah, that's what I noticed when I left Mexico. That was like harder over there. So then I didn't want that for me. I didn't want to be struggling. So then I tried to come back because like over here's a better future and a better paycheck.
He's grown so much from being a shy 9th grade student who was coming to school late or not often, to a student who's here every day, very respectful, but getting out of his shell, and he's just grown into like this really wonderful young man over the past semester and a half. So I'm just really excited to see where he'll go from now until he graduates high school, and even further than that.
Yeah, well, I'm planning to go to college, and cause like I'm getting kind of good at math. I'm trying to just be like being an engineer, cause like, engineer has to like do a lot of math.
I guess I felt angry because I wanted to go to high school in Glendale, but I couldn't because I moved back out here. And so I guess it was anger and loneliness, and I guess I just pushed everybody away. I got sick for like a week or so with like a bad flu, and then I would just like stay home and like watch TV and stuff, and I guess I felt I liked that life, and then so I would just, after the day after the next, I was just staying home telling my parents I was sick when I wasn't.
The way that this job is we're really trying to teach attendance and the expectations to all students and parents. And so as I'm going through attendance data and looking at names and students, his name came across, and I noticed that he had been out of school for several months, almost 3 months. The parents were at a loss on what he was doing and why he was at home. They didn't know what to do. They had not really contacted the school or any officials at the school to kind of get some information on how to assist them.
They were disappointed in me because I was lying to their face and I wasn't coming to school. They were telling me like, why were you telling us you were sick when you weren't?
So it was important that I encourage the process, I leave the school open, but also know what their obligations were as parents and to get him here at school. Because after the initial phone call with the family, and I was able to convince him to come into school, what had come out was that Justin was having an experience. He had some ideas of how school was. He had some ideas of how students around him were, how teachers were going to be treating him.
I just kind of felt I wasn't getting like the attention, I guess, from the teachers. I didn't seek out the help because I just really didn't feel like it. I didn't want to come back. When I was at home, I was just kind of trying to enjoy myself, but kind of got boring after a while.
His problem was that he had some transition problems, and his ideas of the transition were that students were bad, teachers were unaccepting and uninviting, and that he would be left alone.
I guess I needed that push because I just didn't feel like I wanted to come to school because I didn't know anybody. I was lonely, and so I needed somebody to tell me, give me encouragement so that I can do it.
And so what we did during that conversation was kind of break down his myth or his disbelief of how the school was, and to actually give it a chance. And once the conversation started to go and the parents started to understand and accept that, the conversation really took a different form, which was, I'll give it a try. I've had success in school in the past. This is something that I know that I can do. I just maybe have to open up my eyes, give it a chance, and allow you to trust you.
I guess I had to hear, like, I can't be home all day just doing nothing with my life. I had to, step up and do something with my life.
He had always said that education was important to him. So it was to get him back in for him to start that process. And that process was a day-to-day. It was after our conversation with the family and that intervention, I had already planned, we're gonna get this guy right back in the classroom immediately. And so during that process and walking him to his teacher and introducing him and allowing that time, I asked Justin at the end of the day to come and see me, and he did. And how was it? It was pretty good. A couple days go by, how's school going? I was checking his attendance, everything was good. He was coming to school on time.
I was skeptical about coming back here at first, but after a couple days of being back in the system, just kind of got used to it.
Being an attendance improvement counselor and being a school social worker, you learn to be resourceful. And one of the first things that you do while you're on campus is learn who on campus are those that are here to help and to encourage students in their success.
Well, he kind of helped me, talk to the teachers a little more, and he also introduced me to new people and like the basketball coach and the coaches, now wanting me on the next year. And so I guess he kind of helped me make new friends and more bonds with the teachers and the staff here.
It was maybe a week later when I had summoned him, and he came to my office during lunch with a group of 5 boys. And who are these? These are all my new friends. And so I knew at that point that he was going to be successful.
I think the tutoring and the Mr. Burns and the counselors helped me get back on my feet. I think that's what helped me the most, the encouragement.
Right now he hasn't, his attendance is great. His grades, he's passing every one of his classes.
Now, attendance is, a big part of my life. Going to school, I want to get to college and stuff. My plans are to maybe take adult school classes, make up the credits I missed, graduate. I see myself graduating from high school, going to a good college.
He's going to make it, and he's going to be a successful young man.
I wanted to get into the media arts, video effects and stuff like that. Those are my goals.